My name is Malala Yousafzai. I am girls education activist, and my activism started with my own story where girls in my hometown were stopped from going to school. But today I am here advocating for the rights of millions of girls who do not have access to education, they do not have access to schools. I was in my first year of university when I was called for a portrait for the National Portrait Gallery. It felt surreal, and I remember walking into a studio in London, and there was Shirin and other staff waiting for me, and there was a beautiful setup for the photos. Shirin really cared about the message that I carried with me. She knew that we need to reflect the message of activism and speaking for truth in these pictures, but we also need to show this person's story and background and where they come from. I could tell from those conversations with her that she wanted to bring everything into these portraits. My job was easy. It was just following her instructions and standing still. The portrait has Pashto poetry by Ramachar Sahil. He is a Pashtun poet, and I remember that I met him when I was very, very little, and we were discussing the poetry of Malala Yousafzai, the old Malala, and we never even imagined for a second that we would be meeting again and celebrating a portrait where he writes poetry about my story. In this poem, Ramachar Sahil is talking to the Malala Yousafzai and telling her that your legacy still continues. The new Malalas are advocating for freedom, for equal rights, and for a better future for themselves. He is trying to bring her voice back into this story, into this poetry, and Shirin has written that in her beautiful calligraphy. It is a huge honor to be featured in the National Portrait Gallery, and I hope that it inspires young people when they see a young person in this gallery, that they can also become change makers, advocates and activists for a change in their community. The more women and women of color we have in the museums, a lot of kids would be able to relate to them. They would also see a true picture of the world rather than a very incorrect image of the world. We live in a very diverse world where people come from different backgrounds and they all have a story. They all have a unique, powerful story. My advice to young people is to believe in themselves, their leadership, their potential. You have so much energy and enthusiasm for creating a better, more equal, peaceful, cleaner world. Continue with this energy because you are the future leaders, you are the change makers. So we need you, like the world needs you. So it's important for you to never give up. And that is something that I sometimes remind myself as well. I ask the younger version of me, and she's committed, she doesn't give up, and I'm like, I need to follow that energy.